criminal bench book, a key literature in the administration of justice.
Probably the most important contribution that this bench book will make is towards ensuring the constitutional protection of the law.
And what do you know about epilepsy or fits?
You cannot catch epilepsy. Anyone, anytime can get epilepsy.
Those are some of the features we have lined up for you today. Hello, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for making it Jamaica Magazine. Let's move right on with the show.
Energy saving is not a maybe, it's a must. So hear this. Yo, turn off your light, turn off your TV and your fan. When you not use it, turn off your heater and your AC as part of the plan. When you not use it, the public sector retrofitting, so the private sector and we fi join in. Retrofitting? Yeah. What that? How you do that? Listen up. Hey, a whole time light bulb. That's what that. Use energy saving bulb. I delete that. Put a regulator on your refrigerator. Use your wits to save water. Be smart, you know. And all motor is so long fi drive fast. Ease up half of the gas. Save gas. Energy conservation throughout the nation. Every woman and man come join in the plan. The plan to save energy. We must save energy. Ease up on the energy. Up on the energy. Save today, protect tomorrow.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, June 22. The Alpart bauxite plant in Nain, St. Elizabeth was officially reopened yesterday by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Production at the plant was halted almost 9 years ago in the aftermath of the global recession and a drop in metal prices. Chinese company Jiquan Iron and Steel, JISCO, took over management of the plant in November. Prime Minister Holness says the now renamed JISCO Alpart Jamaica brings optimism of an increase in economic activity for the surrounding communities and the country.
A bold decision was taken to give a 5-year bauxite levy waiver to facilitate the plant's reopening, with assurances from JISCO that they will, within 3 years of reopening Alpart, build a new 2 million tons per annum aluminum plant to complement the existing 1.65 million tons per annum facility.
He points out that last year alone, the nation generated $540 million from the bauxite sector, and Alpart's reopening will significantly boost those earnings. Meanwhile, Mining Minister Mike Henry points out that 800 to 1,000 jobs will be available at the plant.
I'm happy here today to see that those 70 workers have now been replaced by 720 Jamaicans coming to work as I speak. 134 contractors benefiting from the process. 250 JISCO employees, and I am pleased to advise that some 230 of those will be returning to China shortly, and therefore we will find the Jamaicans occupying the greater percentage of jobs in this factory.
JISCO has indicated that it will be investing in excess of $2 billion to transform the Port Kaiser plant and construct an energy-efficient fabrication facility and a tool and machinery plant. An ancillary logistics center will also be established. Head of Data Management at eGov Jamaica, Walt Brown, says strict measures are being put in place to protect personal information collected for the National Identification Systems, NIDS. Mr. Brown was speaking at a press conference at Jamaica House on Wednesday.
We are taking all the measures necessary to ensure that the national ID system, and not just the national ID system, but all systems housed within eGov Jamaica Limited are provided with the highest level of security that will meet industry standards. So we are spending a lot of money, there's a lot of infrastructure being put in place, and we are ensuring that all access to data is managed, is audited, and is controlled.
The National Identification and Registration Authority Bill, which is now before the House of Representatives, has also included provisions for penalties if breaches or abuse of data do occur.
The bill is very clear, and the bill has a section that focuses on the punitive measures that the government will take, up to $4 million and 4 years in prison if you abuse the data especially for persons working within the database management organization.
The Jamaica Fire Brigade has received 2 new command vehicles, which are the first of their kind in the region. The units, which are valued at over $407,000, have been provided by the Embassy of Japan under the non-project to grant aid for the provision of industrial products. The vehicles were manufactured in Japan and have the capacity to withstand natural and man-made disasters such as fire, hurricane, and terrorist activities. Speaking at yesterday's handing over ceremony, local government minister Desmond McKenzie said the units were especially important given what was expected to be an active 2017 hurricane season.
It means, therefore, that the Jamaica Fire Brigade, as the first respondent, must be in a position to respond when the needs arise. Quite recently, we have seen where the commitment of the men and women of the Jamaica Fire Brigade was very evident in the work that was done in Sunnyside, in Linstead, during the rains.
The units have the capacity to accommodate 6 persons. They boast 4 workstations, 2 bunk beds, kitchen and bathroom facilities, and are equipped with a standby generator and air conditioning. Another command vehicle is scheduled to arrive on the island in December. The Ministry of National Security has launched a rehabilitation and reintegration program for juveniles at 4 correctional institutions. Dubbed We Transform, the program targets 242 youth ages 12 to 17 and is being implemented through the Department of Correctional Services. At Tuesday's launch, Portfolio Minister Robert Montego said We Transform would allow for the seamless reintegration of juvenile offenders by addressing risk factors for reoffending and providing empowerment through training.
My ministry believes that each and every one of these young persons deserve a second chance in life. And we are committed to helping our young offenders to get back on the right side of the law and to remain there.
4 components of Phase 1 are now being implemented. 2 other components are to get underway in 2018. And finally, Lady Ivy Cook, widow of the late former Governor General, the Most Honorable Sir Howard Cook, has been accorded an official funeral by the government. The service will be held on June 30, 2017 at the East Queen Street Baptist Church in Kingston. Lady Cook died on June 5 at the age of 100. She was admired for her strong sense of duty to Jamaica and effortless dignity. Like her late husband, Lady Cook was a teacher by profession, and her love for and work among children distinguished her as a major contributor in the field of child development. A condolence book is now open at King's House until June 29. The book will be available for signing by members of the public between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Get legal advice for free. Yes, free! From the Mobile Justice Unit. The Mobile Justice Unit makes scheduled stops in towns across the country, and the unit is open for stops at community meetings and school expos. Get free consultation on matters to do with land, immigration, divorce, job redundancy or termination, custody and maintenance. The Mobile Justice Unit, providing access to timely justice outcomes. To request a visit, contact the Legal Aid Council, 131 Tower Street, downtown Kingston, or call them at 922-3761.
With news out of the way, we now look at matters of justice. The criminal bench book was recently added to the catalogue of literature used by judges and attorneys in the handling of cases. It provides guidance for summation of cases by judges and serves as a point of reference to tutors and persons entering the legal profession.
The work of Supreme Court judges has lightened with the introduction of a revolutionary tool. While this book is primarily geared towards judges, it is also of use to every Jamaican who comes in contact with the law. This criminal bench book has been published to help ensure justice is delivered in a timely manner.
Judges have to start preparing their summations from the time when they receive the papers for a case. They have to identify the issues and identify what are the directions that they will give in respect of those issues.
Over the years, our judges have performed this difficult task without the benefit of a bench book that collates in one place all the material needed for the purposes of summation and directions to juries in criminal cases.
It is a reference work for judges with the more common directions all put together in one place so as to assist judges to give directions to juries.
Prior to receiving this bench book, judges and members of the bench had to use multiple sources from England, other Commonwealth jurisdictions, and senior colleagues to compile a summation. The book contains guidelines and summations from other jurisdictions on a range of cases covering criminal liability, child defendant, accessory liability, and joint enterprise, among others. It was authored by retired Court of Appeal judges Justices Ferdinand Smith and Carl Harrison.
The bench book aims to give assistance, but is not intended to be a replacement for thorough research of the law required.
The bench book will also be an important source of reference for lawyers, law tutors, lecturers, and law students. Also, that it will help persons participating in court proceedings.
The criminal bench book is now accessible on the Supreme Court website. Copies were also given to several entities, such as the Jamaica Library Service, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, and the Jamaican Bar Association, to be used in the dispensation of justice in Jamaica.
Probably the most important contribution that this bench book will make is towards ensuring the constitutional protection of the law, the right to a fair trial to which every Jamaican is entitled.
The book was completed with funding and technical support from the British High Commission.
It is a very impressive document.
This is in keeping with 21st century thinking. Certainly from my staff, you recognize that all 43 lawyers at the Office of the DPP, we are the persons who prosecute in the High Court, where the judge would have to sum up the case to the jury. And part of our responsibility is to assist the court. This particular bench book will be not only required reading, but it will be one of the documentary material that will be in our toolkit.
As the government seeks to reform the justice system, the cries of "we want justice" will be diminished through a transparent process. A major milestone is the publication of this legislative tool, the criminal bench book.
We are men with a message, and the youth them need to hear this.
We know everything about thug life.
Been there, done that.
Prison and a nice place, stay in school.
Serious thing we I tell you, and a joke thing this.
You can't tell me about hungry.
That's no excuse. Leave the badness alone.
Nobody narrate you.
Them just afraid of you. Live positive, remember. A gang is a dead end.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Stop smoking around me! Without cigarettes, the world will be much better. Smoking is bad for your health, and when grown-ups smoke around us, we are breathing in their smoke too.
Cigarette smoking is bad for your health and the health of those around you. Don't smoke around children. A message from the Pan American Health Organization.
You may know it as epilepsy or fits, a disorder of the brain which triggers random seizures of the body. We take a closer look at this illness and dispel some of the myths associated with it.
What do Socrates, Theodore Roosevelt, Charles Dickens, Alfred Nobel, Prince, Lil Wayne, Elton John, Danny Glover, and Hugo Weaving all have in common? If you said they're all famous, that's not quite the answer I'm looking for. All these prominent figures are believed to have or had what many know as fits or seizures associated with epilepsy, one of the oldest and least understood medical conditions.
It is not dopey take you over, it is not spirits. We have these myths that we do need to dispel in Jamaica. Some people think it's contagious, and it is not contagious. You cannot catch epilepsy. Anyone, anytime can get epilepsy.
So, what is epilepsy? It's a disorder of the brain characterized by recurrent seizures, which are short periods of involuntary movements involving a part of the body, a partial or focal seizure, or the entire body, a generalized seizure. Our brains run on electricity, which is produced by cells called neurons. In some people, these neurons sometimes produce a sudden electrical burst or power surge, resulting in a seizure.
Epilepsy is a chronic disorder, just like asthma or diabetes. It's a disorder of the brain. And so when a patient has a seizure, they do have unusual behavior at the time of their seizure. But otherwise, they're usually quite normal. It's also not a mental illness. People with epilepsy are not crazy. It's a brain disorder, but it's not a mental illness.
The cause of epilepsy can be genetic,
meaning that you can be born with a genetic disorder that predisposes your brain to be abnormally wired, and that you are more likely to produce these epileptic discharges and have seizures recurrently. Sometimes you may have, when the baby is being formed in the first few months of their embryological life, you may have an abnormality happening with the brain formation.
Then, there are other conditions that can occur at any time during someone's life that can cause epilepsy.
Those conditions that are acquired would be those related to a physical injury to the brain or an infection in the brain, such as meningitis, which is an infection of the covering around the brain, or an encephalitis, which is an infection of the brain substance itself, as well as you may have stroke, decreased blood supply, nutrients going to the brain, also causing seizures and epilepsy.
Seizures do not always involve convulsions or jerking of the body. There are in fact over 20 different seizure types. Many are quite subtle, as in the case of 12-year-old Liana.
We found out when she was about 3 months old. It was something very subtle. We found out that she was just staring in one direction for probably a minute or two, keeping that stare.
For Marvin Fullerton, his experience was different.
I first found out in 1994, November 1994, when I was in technical high school. What I did was feeling some itching on my skin. I went to the school nurse, asked her what was wrong with me, and she told me that I need to change my bath soap. Right.
And what happened after that?
Well, I changed my bath soap and nothing really changed after. But it was January 4, 1995 when I had my first attack. And I woke up in my father's car going to hospital.
Even though he was soon diagnosed with epilepsy, Marvin was able to live a normal life for most of his years as a student.
I was able to go to school. I was put on simple medications such as Tegretol CR 200. No problem. It was easy taking it. It prevented me from having an attack, but my body was not having much problems at those times.
Marvin went on to attend the Vocational Training Development Institute, VTDI, and the University of Technology. He holds a diploma in architecture and construction management. But despite his academic achievements, he still has challenges gaining employment.
I'm not working right now because it was just the other day I was in the hospital, right? And I got an interview for a job. The interview was wonderful, but I was in the hospital, so the job somewhat got turned down. They found out about the situation and I got turned down.
Unfortunately, there are those who believe that persons with epilepsy cannot work or lead normal lives.
Most people, 70 to 80% of people with epilepsy, can have their seizures controlled. It's the person you employ who you don't yet have their first seizure. Those are the ones that you should be worried about, because any of us can develop epilepsy for different reasons at any time.
If you believe someone is having a seizure, there are some things you should never do.
Do not put any objects in the mouth. Do not put a spoon to hold the tongue down. Do not bring scallion. Do not take a dirty sneaker and put over the face.
So then, what should you do?
You need to cushion their heads. Whether you have a cushion or a jacket, you can take off and make a cushion just to support the head so they don't damage themselves. You loosen, if it's a man with a tie, loosen his clothing so that he can get some air and he can relax. You turn the person on the side. Do not put them with their heads right back. Turn them on their side and the tongue will fall and any fluids of the mouth will drain out to the side. And I guarantee you, you cannot swallow your tongue. A seizure would take between 3 to 5 minutes. Now, if the seizure continues for more than 5 minutes, you should take that person to the hospital.
Anti-seizure medication is the most commonly used method to control seizures. Discounts are available for epilepsy patients who are registered with the National Health Fund. But there are side effects. Some persons experience weight gain, drowsiness, irritability, skin rashes, and blood platelet changes, among others, all of which require understanding from those around them. Then, there is also medical marijuana or medical cannabis.
It seems to have helped a number of, especially children with epilepsy that have been intractable, that is difficult to treat. But in Jamaica, we still need legislation in order to use it, and there's still a lot of research that needs to be done about the dosing of the CBD or cannabidiol to be used to treat epilepsy, but it surely seems as though it may be promising.
Research has also shown that diets such as a ketogenic diet can help control the onset of epileptic seizures. The Jamaican Association for Epilepsy offers support for persons with epilepsy and their families. The association also holds regular meetings with members at the Andrews Hospital to share experiences and discuss concerns. They can be contacted at telephone 968-8274 or email jaepilepsy@gmail.com.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, pathway to prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
To give up our best at the workplace, we must be professional in how we carry out our duties. Here are a few things to consider.
Mastering workplace communication, even for communications officers, can be a challenge, and the right thing to say often comes down to who says it, how it's said, to whom it's said, and when it's said. But a trip online recently uncovered some interesting tips on a few office discussion no-nos that are at least worth considering.
I can't take on any more work right now. I'm completely overwhelmed.
Now, it could be true and you are overwhelmed, but here's another truth. Companies want problem solvers, not people who cry defeat at the assignment of every new task. So try saying something like, let's look at my project list and see where we can work this in. It might mean moving something else to a later date. Remember, in a world of economic restraint and corporate downsizing, multitasking must be in your skills basket.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Joe is an idiot.
Substitute the name and you could probably find a few people who fit this phrase. Just don't say it in the office. Why not? Well, it's rude. That person could be your boss someday. And statements like those don't build trust and can prove disruptive to the office environment.
Boss, what you say? That's not fair.
So, what's not fair? The person sitting across from you earns more to do the same job? Well, maybe they do it better than you. Life's not fair. Employment's not fair. Get over it and get moving. Upgrade yourself, know and demand your worth, and don't begrudge others for doing what you didn't have the skills, work ethic, foresight, or just good luck to achieve.
You sure that's the best way? That's not how we used to do it at my old company, and we always got it right.
So why aren't you still there? That's what your colleagues are likely to ask once you utter a statement like this. It smacks of arrogance and a refusal to try or learn new things.
The report, I'll have it on your desk by 3 p.m. Yeah, 3 p.m. today.
If you don't plan to do it, don't say it. That little untruth could delay or frustrate someone else's work plan or your company's production output. Of course, when you do seriously plan and miss a deadline anyway, give as much advance notice as possible.
I'm bored.
Likely responses: anger from your overworked colleague, disdain from the one who thinks you're a slacker, and well, your boss is likely to question why you're getting a paycheck this month. Next time your work pile looks thin, be innovative and find new projects to pursue. It could be the stuff of promotions and bonuses.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
the island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
That's all the time we have for today, but another program comes your way tomorrow. Until then, just click on our website, jis.gov.jm, to stay connected. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. You take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.